Welcome to Psych Ward Crafts Time with Manic Matt. I'm Manic Matt, and for today's craft, I think we'll do a maze. I would like to share a Bible verse, and we'll have a prayer, and then we'll start the show. Today's Bible verse is Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verses 12 and 13 from the English Standard Version. I perceived that there is nothing better for them than to be joyful and to do good as long as they live. Also, that everyone should eat and drink and take pleasure in all his toil. This is God's gift to man. Let us pray. Dear Lord, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be able to do art, to record videos and write books and eat food on a daily basis and live in the best country in the world, United States of America. Amen. All right. I've been really thinking about trying to change my algorithm and the types of stuff I've been consuming as entertainment and content for a while. And that's all news and politics. That's a lot of stuff that I've been consuming in a while, for the last few months or so, I guess. It's all podcasts and opinions and speculation and all the news that's going on in the world. I mean, I feel like it's the reason that I did that I'm really into it, is because of feeling like it's connecting me to the world and knowing things. It makes me feel like I'm part of something. I don't know. But I find that I do not want to do that anymore, because I'm going to have I'm trying to do this show, and I don't want to have a lot of like stuff to talk about and like planned ahead to talk about. I just want to talk about whatever that's on my mind. And if all I consume all the time is the news and podcast world and all the drama between the pundits and the opinion people, then that's all I have to talk about. And I find boring, really. Why do I need to throw my voice into that pool of nonsense? Because it's not helpful. So today I purged my feed and the algorithm. I deleted all my history of all the stuff and unsubscribed from a lot of political type shows. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just done with it. I need to minimize it to a small amount of news that's not so opinion based and speculation about, well, I think this person will run in 2028, or what I think is going to happen in this situation or that in the future, what I think Trump is really thinking, and what's behind this, and blah blah blah. It's just too much stuff of nonsense. When the real news, like old Norm Macdonald would say back in the old days, all you really need is like 30 minutes, probably a week, to hear all the big news events of the week. 30 minutes, and then you're good. You don't need someone to tell you why you should be upset about this or that person, or who did what, and what's really behind their motives, and who's paying where's the funding coming from, and knowing this, if you know all the stuff that's going on in the government and other governments in the world, what does that do to you? How does that help you in your life? You might need to just know a little bit of stuff things that might affect you personally in your own day-to-day life. Like, is my retirement account getting messed up because of this? Do I, is there some great calamity that I have to be aware of? I don't know. I think most of the big stories you will know because people will tell you if you're not paying attention. But also, if you're watching all the news and stuff, you're getting propaganda. It's all propaganda and people pushing agendas, and I'm over it. I want to get back into consuming like fun entertainment. Of course, maybe I could feel connected if I, in a spiritual sense, prayed more and read my Bible more on a regular basis. I read more in general, like fictional books and stuff like that. I'm sick of the political stuff. I think I went into a mode of listening and consuming it all after after what happened to Charlie Kirk last year. I think I went into a mode of only wanting to listen to political stuff and all the podcasts that do that. There's an infinite amount of people talking about opinions and political news and speculating things and sharing their opinion. It's all opinion. I do respect some of these guys that go out and do the investigative journalism on an independent level, looking into things like Nick Shirley. Very respectable for someone to do that, and I'm glad he's doing it. Yeah, I don't know if I need to be aware of this any longer. I have a different lane that I'm trying to go in my own personal life that has nothing to do with it. And I could watch this. I'm not going to do anything about it. So what's the point of knowing all the bad things that happen? I think I got kind of the feeling that back a long time ago that the news media is trying to push the overall concept that there is going to be catastrophe. The end is near. The world is coming to an end very soon. I think that's the underlying message of all the mainstream media. And the mainstream media nowadays is bleeding into the independent podcasters and journalists and stuff or whatever. They're getting bought out and paid to share a script. Like all the news media, they all have the same message that they push, and the people who are paying that for that and behind that has expanded their influence into the independent podcaster world and YouTubers and influencers to, hey, get on the same page of this is the message that we are speaking on now. This is the propaganda that we push. And it just expanded beyond the mass media into the podcast world because there's nobody short of not being willing to sell their integrity out for a paycheck to push an agenda on someone else's behalf. So it's just expanded to that world now. And it's very obvious, if anybody's paying attention, that this is happening, whether they're on the left or some version of the right that is getting all mixed up right now. And you can see that they're all getting influenced and paid to. And there's very few people who just share their honest opinions and views on stuff. And what is the use of that? Even if it's true opinion and speculations of what they think of what's going to happen or what the true motives of this politician is or that president of this country or another. What's their real motives? What do I think? Well, blah, blah, blah. And who cares? Even if you're right, or even if you're honest about your own opinion, was that based on misinformation, disinformation, and how does that help me to make decisions in my daily life of what I'm trying to accomplish and my goals? For me, very little. So I find it to be not useful anymore to spend all this time listening to this stuff. It's a obviously there's entertainment value in it. That's why people do it. That's why I did it. Probably entertainment value, but it's something that makes you feel like you're being a good person to know what's going on, and then you won't be. You could figure out by listening to all these different people where is the truth in this. But can you really know unless you go to the event, investigate, truly go into it yourself to know? Otherwise, you're just, whether you engage with it or not, you are subject to propaganda, brainwashing, and all of that. So I'm going to try to like shift what I consume for entertainment and passive listening to be less of that. And I found like one or two like podcasts that I might want to listen to that's unbiased, that just kind of gives you the overall like here's the basic events of the week or whatever. Stick to that and listen to other stuff that's more beneficial to my soul. Yes, maybe that'll help. I definitely see the problem with like continually going into the feed of the news and that stuff. It's everywhere, and politics is infecting everything. And I want to escape it so that I can have a different view of things, my worldview, and have a different experience of my life. All right. I think I wanted to change it up today for the maze by adding some color. I felt like I needed more color than this is the base colors that I was going with. And I wanted to add some things to this. So I got these colors and I wanted to add like flower patterns or whatever, just give it some character and color. So we're going to do that today. See how it looks. think as I was talking about before with the media and the news and all that, I think the underlying message that they want people to have the feeling of the end times is upon us, like always. And because there's not only that there's like people who have agendas like funding all these media outlets and political pundits and people and actors even and musicians and the whole entertainment. They're all funded by people with agendas, but also just corporations with stuff to sell. And just that alone, there's a reason to have people think that there might not be a future. So spend your money now. Buy this product. What is the point of having money in your account, in your wallet, when there may be no reason to have money in the future? Buy this thing. You need this thing now. Now. You buy this now. Because tomorrow may never come. And that's like the overall message that the advertisers want, or the emotional feeling that they're trying to convey into the people and bring out so that they feel like there's no reason to be concerned about saving money or getting into debt. What's the point? You just need to have this product today. Okay? What are you saving your money for? The apocalypse? It's coming next Tuesday. Haven't you heard? So I remember the first time that I felt concerned about the end of days and the time of years. Y2K, as I was a teenager then, and everybody's freaking out. The year 2000, the computers are going to mess up because they don't know. We don't do 1999. We just do 99. And it's going to go to 00, and it's going to think it's not. It's the beginning of time or something. And there's nothing happened. That was a stupid thing. But there's always something. Right now, what is it? World War III? Aliens? There's something to push. Hey, the end is coming. Be afraid. You live in a state of fear. That's what we want. All right. But, I guess you get older and you get used to hearing all the dumb stuff and you're like, oh, okay. I'm going to go fishing next week. Let me know if the world does end. Bye. Who cares? I mean, but at a certain age, you like, come on, man, let's get it over with. If it's going to end, stop talking about it. Let's do it. Don't talk about it. Be about it. Let's go, apocalypse, Armageddon, Antichrist, alien overlords, AI takeover, whatever. Doesn't matter. Just bring it on. I'm getting close to getting my second edition of my book ready to put out. The first one's out. I made a lot of changes and added things and added chapters. This will be a longer book. Changed some important parts of it towards the end specifically. So I just want to talk about my inspiration for the types of things I wanted to write, the types of stories I wanted to tell. And that would be Frank Peretti in his books, This Present Darkness and Piercing the Darkness. Those were inspirations for me in the types of stories I wanted to tell. It depicted like like a normal story, well, not a normal, but the human element of the story of a preacher and a university town and professors and media, newspaper editor, journalist, what have you, in the first book. and it was about like the occult element trying to uh, inject the university students with their occult like beliefs. All right, and this was written in the 80s. Now it's not so much occult beliefs that is being injected, but it's pretty close to that. It's like, leftist, communist, socialist type of ideas that are being injected into the universities now. And that was a thing that was happening kind of on in the 80s. I think it's always been going on with communism, really, but this was overtly, the story was occultism. And it depicts and shows like the struggle in these invisible spiritual realm of angels and fallen angels and demons, like fighting each other. And the angels would have more power based on the faith and the prayers of the Christian believers. And the people who did the occult practices gave the fallen angels and demons more power based on their weird practices, I guess. In the second book, it went to like a younger grade school, I guess, a small like a grade school level. Particular case of a lot of stuff going on in the second book. I didn't think the spiritual aspect of the invisible struggles was as interesting in this one as the story itself was pretty good without that part. It just kind of I mean, as Christians, you believe in the spiritual realm and that these beings are acting on our behalf on one way or the other, and that type of stuff is always going on. And this book kind of lets you see that in a really cool way. But the second book, it was like a kind of the same thing with the occult stuff. They were injecting this into the younger grade schools and teaching like young kids how to summon their inner animal being or what have you. And it was very borderline, just opening yourself up to full on demonic possession. That's basically what it was. And that all this stuff, it seems crazy to think about that it was written in the 80s. And now we see this overblown furry thing in this weird furry community, and that kind of, and now this weird ideologies and stuff being pushed in our education systems from grade school on up to university level. And it's all a bunch of weird identity stuff, LGBTQAIO, EIO. You could be whatever you imagine it to be, and shame on you for not accepting me as the imaginary thing that I think I am. So that it was this one incident in the second book. I guess the kid was acting like an animal and not snapping out of it because they were like fully into this inner being of the animal thing that they summon into their self. So this uh, teacher, preacher guy, whatever, pastor guy, I'm not sure. He decided to give her a spanking, snap out of it. And he got in trouble. He got his own kids taken away, and there was a huge court thing about it, and there was investigations and everything was going on. Even though it was a private Christian school that this was happening to, and the student that they weren't teaching that in the Christian school. That kid had got transferred out of the other school that was doing that, the public school, I guess, that was teaching this in like the nursery class or something. It was crazy. And they have the whole town is like infected, from the sheriff to the people in the education system and all this, and the newspapers. I don't know what else, with these weird occult people who are pushing this weird agenda, and they were very strongly against any Christianity going on. So that was part of the story. Of course, his style is not going to be the same as mine. He inspired me to get into that type of storylines of the invisible realm of things. that and Michael Heiser's book, The Unseen Realm, but that's more of a, that's not a fictional story. That's based on an interpretation of the Bible that he goes into. But I guess both those things together kind of inspired me, really. And then the fact that I'm dissatisfied with most all entertainment nowadays, and specifically Christian entertainment. Most of it is completely, I don't know, like it's too nice and slanted. I guess I don't know. But mine's gonna be my story that I wrote is about a man who can see demons, and it's called Doubting Against Faith, available now on Amazon. Hopefully, the second edition is now available with a much longer version and better editing and all that and structure. It was a learning process to get through the first one to understand how it all works. But now I think I'm going to be really happy with the second edition of Doubting Against Faith. Much longer version. Things changed in a little bit, just slightly, to make it more clear about some of the stuff that it was trying to convey. But my story is not. It's rated R. It's not for children. I use curse words. There's drug use. There's sexual content. It's not a Christian story in the way that that term Christian is used in the same way like a rated G or PG is like equivalent to that. No, it is a story of faith in Christianity, but it is not rated Christian or family friendly or anything like that. There is a different thing of that. That's why the term Christian to identify something is not good enough anymore. I'm a Christian. What the heck does that mean anymore these days? To say that, or this book is Christian, or it's not. What does that even mean? Is the Passion of the Christ Christian? Very violent, and Mel Gibson has problems. But anyway, I digress on that. I just know that it is a Christian story, or a story of someone coming to faith. The story is called Doubting Against Faith. Eventually, he will accept faith in Jesus. Eventually, but he doesn't want to, even though he can see demons. Trying to come up with an alternative answer to why. Something wrong with me. I don't know. Maybe I gave away too much of my story already. But I wanted to let people know that about my inspiration from Frank Peretti and Unseen Realm. And I wrote it in the first person perspective. I like that the best. Feels right to me. You go on a ride, you're gonna get in there, you're gonna feel the way he feels, and you're gonna get into it and you're gonna see things and experience it the way the character does. To me, third person just felt like too hard of a way to write. It didn't make sense to experience a story. It's like someone telling a story about somebody else, and how does that whoever's telling the story about that guy, how do they know what that guy was thinking? It's like God mode third person or secondary witness to the story, and they don't know the full inside of the head of the character. First person, you're limited in the perspective of that character, but you have all the inside thoughts of that person and everything that they're experiencing, whether it's hallucinations or like thoughts that aren't based in reality. They're insinuations, or I don't know what. I like it better that style. But anyway, check it out. Doubting Against Faith, now available on Amazon. Link in the description. Also, check out my art on artpal.com/. Manic Matt.
What do you get?
I don't think so.
When you cross
I think
a
we're
mentally
done
ill
with you,
loner
Joe.
with
That's
a
it.
society that abandons him.
Manic Matt
was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?